Aloha mai kākou, Kiaʻi Collier koʻu inoa. No Hamaku Poko Maui wau. No wau ma Waiheʻe, kia manawa, ma ka iliaina o Poho ma Waiheʻe. Aloha, how's it going? Hello everybody, my name is Kiaʻi Collier. I'm originally from the North Shore of Maui, down at Hamaku Poko, and currently I reside in Waiheʻe, in the iliaina of Poho, on the island of Maui. So, how's it going? Aloha.
Awesome. And what is the cultural practice that you're going to be sharing today at Hoʻomau, and how did you come to learn it?
Yeah, so the cultural practice that we'll be sharing here today is ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku. And how we started to really get into that practice was through the restoration of our local ʻIʻakala down in Waiheʻe. First, we were looking for a kumu, and we were able to find one, Uncle Fred Flores, or Peleke Flores, a really well-renowned ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku practitioner, and also one of the lead Kiaʻi loko in the state. So we're really blessed to have him as our kumu. So, and our hui is Ka Poholima Kāʻeo. We're made up of 11 alakaʻi, including myself, and we're all practitioners for ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku through him. Yeah.
And why is this practice important to you personally, and then also to the greater lahui, and why is it important to continue this practice?
Yeah, so the importance of this practice to me is it brings back historical sites. It brings historical sites back to life. So one of the main ones that we're doing currently is the local ʻIʻakala down in Kapoho, which is an inland fish pond. And first things first, in order to make sure that the pond and the wetlands become functional again, we have to rebuild the walls and set everything up so that the water can come in and we can start using that area for functionality. So I think that is one of the major things with ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku that really brings a lot of importance to me, is the revitalization of our actual structures that our kūpuna left behind for us. So, and just continuing that type of practice and building more builders so that we can start to bring back a lot of our food systems and things like that. So, yeah.
So when you're talking about revitalizing, you're not talking about building new structures in new places. You're talking about seeing where the old foundations are and bringing that back to life. Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so a lot of the restoration efforts for local i'a and local ʻIʻakala around the states is basically based off of the footprint that our kūpuna left us. So that's kind of the first step, in my own opinion, is to rebuild the structures that our kūpuna set for us, and then eventually, once we learn more and become more familiar with the systems and the practices, we will be able to actually possibly create new fish ponds or build new structures in the state of Hawaii that bring functionality for our kanaka today. So also honoring and respecting our kūpuna, following their template, and also, you know, evolving to where we can also make our own conscious decisions for structures that can benefit our lahui.
And what are the foundational values or any protocol behind ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku?
So it's pretty simple. I mean, it's not too nuts with the protocols, but the main things is always being able to understand the functions of the pohakus and the things that you're going to do when you start your practice. So depending on where the pohaku came from, what they're going to be used for, you use certain protocols for that. So, and you just want to make sure that you mihi whenever you can, or not whenever you can, whenever it's appropriate, and follow suit of what kind of needs to be done for that space, because every space is different, right? So the protocol isn't too crazy. It's kind of structured on the wahi and the space and the functionality of it. So, but we do have our collective olis in ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku that other practitioners know, which is pa'aho'i paipai for closing and finishing a wall. Is kind of the main one, and then we also have ho'oniu kaniho, which is another one that was haku'd for specifically for ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku, and it explains, you know, all the different parts of the kuapa that make it whole. So kind of being able to push those words to other people so that they can kind of come to an understanding of not just seeing a pōhaku, but see the other parts that go into it. So things like that, yeah.
And it's, when you're talking about building rock walls, you're not just stacking rocks on top of each other mindlessly, right? There's a lot of intention in which Pōhaku goes where, and can you explain a little bit about that, like kind of the intention?
Yeah. So when you first start ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku, you think it's just putting stones together and then it falls down the next day or within the 5-10 minutes that you're building. So there is a lot of intentionality that comes with ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku and understanding what Pōhaku fits where and how you're going to set yourself up for success further down the line. So you want to make sure that when you're putting in one Pōhaku, you're setting yourself up at least 2-3 stones ahead to where you can just flow right into it and keep your build going and making it solid. So I think that's what a good thing for all of us is trying to help people set them up for success. Is kind of what it is. So the Pōhakus help us do that as well. And you learn, there are some times where it's very difficult to stack and you just gotta aikomea loa'a and keep on pushing through. So it's fun. Yeah.
And when you guys are approaching a site or trying to select a site, how do you select it based on, like, is it have to be alignment, or is it based on people needing kokua from you guys, or?
Yeah, so a lot of the site selection kind of happens organically, and it's usually through kanaka or people who need kokua. So, for example, the loko Kiaʻi that's down in Waihe'e, when the parcel was bought in 2003 by Maui Coastal Land, one of the main things that the community in that area wanted to see was the revitalization or the restoration of the fish pond. So when we came in 2021, 2022, that's when we really started to push and make that dream a reality for the people in the community. So currently right now, projects are really based off of Aina movement and whoever needs the kokua, and we just provide the resources to help our kanaka move forward, because everybody's doing a lot of great work, especially in Aina. So, yeah. And
do you feel that this work connects you to Aina and helps you feel that, like, connection and feeling of?
Yeah, it does. It is one of the avenues of how I connect to Aina. There are different avenues people use to connect to Aina. Some people is in a lo'i, other people is mala, or just going up to the kuahivis to gather lei and things like that. Those are other avenues of how people connect. So yeah, but this one specifically is the main way I connect to Aina, just because we're constantly working on it. So you only have one choice, and it's to connect, you know what I mean? But it's beautiful and it's fun, and the memories that are built while we work on the kuapa is very beautiful. So as far as ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku, weaving stones, you also weave all that mana with your boys and the people you work with and people who come to help. All of that gets weaved in at the same time, so it's very beautiful.
Yeah. And do you feel that the work you do also connects you to the people you're working with?
Yes, they do. Just because I crack jokes all the time, but yeah, no, it's really, I think what really helps people connect to Aina and to us, because it's kind of a symbiotic relationship, it's also the passion and the drive that people see when they see our alakaʻis over here doing hard labor work, and they see the progress happening, and they see the vision of how this system is going to provide for, not only ourselves, but our future generations. And I think that's what really helps people to connect, not only to Aina, but with other like-minded individuals who are really basing and pushing their efforts in Aina. So it's kind of, yeah, I think they connect pretty well. And if they don't, sorry, my bad, next time.
So do you feel that the Pōhaku itself has, like, spiritual significance, or teaches you as you're working with it?
Yeah, so in everything that we do, there is spirituality that comes with it. And especially with these Pōhaku, they do bring a lot of mana with them. And some of them don't like to move, so you got to work with that. Some of them bite, smash your finger now and then, and other times they're real nice and easy to work with, and they tell you where they want to go, and you come to learn the uniqueness of every Pōhaku as you start to move it. and you really get to understand, maybe if this isn't a spot for it, it will go down further down the line and things like that. So I think just being able to connect and be more aware of your surroundings and what's happening can really provide good connectivity to Pohakus and give you more of a spiritual connection to it. So, but that happens through practice, right? Practice and protocols is kind of an outline for you to connect spiritually. Easier, you can't connect in different ways, but having a structure really helps to streamline the connectivity, basically. Yeah. How I think of it.
How do you see this practice evolving as time progresses and future generations start to pick it up? How do you see it 2, 3, 4, 5 generations from now thriving? What are your hopes for it?
Yeah, so my hopes is just to see a lot more builders. So our Kumu Peleke Flores, he's been really pushing on. He's been building a lot of builders throughout the Hawaiian already. So I think under him he has about maybe 80 haumana who are consistent in ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku. So that's a huge stepping stone. And yeah, for the future, if we can have people who are more interested and want to kind of take on this kuleana and help to learn ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku, it just gives us more resources to do restoration efforts and make it a lot quicker so that we can start moving faster instead of, constantly waiting and the numbers aren't there and the quality of the stones and the stacking is kind of, weird. But as the practice becomes more familiar, then you're able to level up and bring a higher standard to all the work that we do across the Hawaiian. So I think with the increase of ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku will be a beneficial thing for our lahui, and I would just like to see people find a practice that they want. Could be ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku, could be weaving nets, hala, whatnot, but just a craft with our lahui. So yeah, I think so. Hopefully I answered your question. Did I answer your question? All right. Edit out the last part, huh? I was kind of rambling a little bit.
So yeah, a lot of kanaka today, they're discovering their crafts or their passions or avenues to connect back to culture. Can you share a little bit about your background, your story with connecting to culture? Were you born into it?
Yeah.
I know you were in Hawaiian immersion, so it was a big part of your story. But could you share it too?
Yeah. So I had fortunately, my mom is Kumu Peleke, so I was kind of immersed in Hawaiian immersion from a very young age. She was one of the first Kumus in Maui and Paia and Kekalike and all of that. So I was exposed to it from a very young age, and it didn't come easy, but once you start to become more familiar with it, then you connect differently, and especially language is a huge part of it. So understanding the basics of language and slowly learning language really helps you connect on a different level when you do practices, right? Because there are different ways of thinking when it comes to understanding Hawaiian language and the words and the Pohakus and the names of the things that we do. So yeah, that's, for me, I got a really huge background in Hawaiian culture through my mom, which is my main resource, and other practitioners that I've worked with and things like that. But I would just say, don't let that kind of stuff discourage you. If some people are just getting into it, learning language and doing a practice, then that's the first step. You know what I mean? It's never too late. And then you'll eventually find what calls out to you and what kuleana you need to ʻōamo. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
And can you explain or share what that call might have been for you when it comes to ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku?
Yeah, so how this all kind of began was when I started working down with Hawaiʻi Land Trust in Waiheʻe. I was hired to be the land steward and educator and mainly do the ecological restoration or habitat restoration for that space, which is mainly removing invasive species, planting native plants, everything that is important to our ecosystem. But when I was there looking into the wetlands I just had a huge vision of what that loko iʻakalo would look like and what this space looked like with vai. And at that moment, I really understood that in order for Kapoho to come back and become what it used to be, the loko iʻakalo needs to be rebuilt, because that's the key to bringing our vai back to our space, because we're pushing the structure so that the vai has to come back. Kind of like Field of Dreams is the best way I look at it. Build it and they will come, kind of deal like that. So once that kind of initiated and started kicking, that's when I went through, finding a kumu and things like that. And ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku is just one piece of that vision and that restoration effort. So there's a lot of other pieces that go into it, like oli, ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku, and even connecting with Kanaka and being helpful and giving your time and your efforts to other spaces that need it as well. So it's a give and take relationship. So whenever you make a kahea, you have people who answer, and whenever they make a kahea, you gotta answer as well. So it's give and take, Aloha ke kahi ke kahi.
Do you have a story or a memory that really like connects you to this practice, like something that really solidified your passion?
Yeah, here, let me see to this. An instant, da, 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 yada, yada, yada. Tracy, what was the question? What experience the kind?
Yeah, like, is there a story, a memory, or like an experience that you had that really solidified your passion and your love for ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku?
I would say that the stories and what solidified my practice for ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku is being able to empower my alakaʻi who are in our hui, and giving them the opportunity to really make their own conscious decisions on ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku and other applications of their life through Hawaiian culture. So for me, with building the structure of the kuapa, of the loko iʻakalo, how I've seen my alakaʻi evolve throughout the process, and how their understanding is changing of our building techniques, but also the functionality of the loko. And now we're having more in-depth conversations of functionality for that space. So for me, what solidified the passion and the love for ʻUhau Humu Pōhaku is the elevation of Kanaka and the people who are in it with you, and how we push ourselves to be better is kind of what solidified it for me. And it's always fun. So.
And then, is there a message you would like to share about this practice to Keiki or future generations who would watch this and might have a little bit of a curiosity? But
yeah, so for the future generations, for people who watch this, one thing that our hui likes to say is "Ai ka mea i loaʻa." So what that means is you eat what get. So whatever you get dealt out, you just make it happen. Figure out the best scenario for your resources and for the food that's in front of you, and you just eye what you gotta do. You eat what you get, and just make it the best you can. Yeah.
And what do you hope people take away when they see your work, or they come and they learn? What do you hope they walk away with? Like, what wisdom or what thoughts should they have?
Yeah, so I think once they see the restoration of the loko and the work that we've done, what I want people to really take away from that is to see that we can restore our cultural sites, no matter how difficult it may seem. And I think that's something that really helps empower a lot of people, is seeing these projects actually happen, and it's going through and it's becoming functional. And to give you an example, not only is the kuapa being built, but we also have to bring the vai from Waihee River, which is a mile away. And that was another huge feat with this restoration efforts. But we have the technology and we have the iʻini to do things like that. So by seeing projects like this get finished, I just hope that it empowers people and makes them stoked and ready to take on new challenges that may seem impossible.
And is there anything else you would like to share about this practice or about just Hawaiian culture in general?
Yeah, I would just say, bro, find whatever your passion is. Start off slow, work your way into it. Find good brothers, good sisters, and have a good time. And everybody has something to bring, big or small. So just make sure when you bring it good. Right on.